What the F is for dinner every single night for the rest of your life? In this episode of Giggles and Shit, we're tackling the one part of adulting nobody warned us about, the relentless, never ending mental load of figuring out dinner. From post vacation reality checks after living your best all inclusive life to the daily grind of planning, shopping, cooking, and cleaning. We get into why this simple question feels like a full time job. We talk meal planning hacks, leftovers, creativity, the app idea that could make us millionaires, and the unspoken household debate. If you cook, shouldn't someone else do the damn dishes? Plus, the real struggle of trying to eat healthy, stay on budget, and not lose your mind in the process. It's relatable, it's mildly infuriating, and yes, we still don't have a perfect answer. Welcome to episode 5. What the F is for dinner? Hi, I'm Jill Button.
And I'm Diane Cross.
Welcome
Welcome
to
to
the
the Giggles
Giggles
and
and
Shit
Shit
Show.
Show, the podcast where two Gen X friends talk about midlife chaos, careers, relationships, aging parents, adult kids, and everything else life throws at us.
The show is honest, unfiltered, and occasionally a little inappropriate because sometimes the only way to survive the insanity is to laugh at it. So grab a coffee or pour a glass of wine or something stronger and join us for some giggles as we talk some shit.
Welcome to the Giggles and Shit Show. Hi, Diane. I'm looking forward to today. Let's get into it. What's on your shit or your hit list?
So starting with the shit list is the struggle we all face, I think, is the what the F is for dinner every day for the rest of your life that nobody told you was going to be the biggest part of adulting. Makes me crazy. And especially because we just came back from vacation a couple weeks ago. We went to Jamaica for a week, which is lovely and everybody should do whenever you possibly can. But after spending a week at an all inclusive resort where literally your only responsibility is what time do I need to put a towel on that chair to make sure it's reserved for me at the beach. And then you come home and it's, oh crap, this again, right?
Yes, absolutely. Are you the only person responsible for making dinner? Does
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, there's the problem.
Yeah. Being honest. And mostly because I get home from work first. I'm home from
Oh,
work
okay.
well before Derek gets home from work. So
Yeah.
I'm at least starting whatever it is. But it's also me that's figuring out what it is we're going to eat.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's the same struggle we have as well. I've got adult children living with me, or adults, I guess, not children anymore, but I've actually created a whiteboard that for every day of the week somebody is responsible. Now, often I'm responsible for multiple days of the week, but at least there's some responsibility other than myself to figure out dinner. Now, I still do most of the grocery shopping. So it's really, for example, Sam will make dinner at least a couple of days out of the week, which is a huge
Amazing.
help.
Yeah.
But it's their responsibility to figure out what it is based on what we have in the house. So I'm not planning meals.
Yeah. See, I wish Derek does more of the grocery shopping than I do, but I'll make the list. Kind of have to plan out ahead of time. Okay, well, we still have this left and we should use that and all of the things. But he tends to be able to sneak out at lunch and he's close enough to a grocery store that he can whip out, grab his lunch, and grab a couple things from the grocery store at the same time. So it's not continually a 1 week, $400 grocery shop, which it is
Yeah.
every time I go to the grocery store now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I struggle with the day-to-day, I don't know what the F to cook for dinner tonight. And if I forgot to take something out of the freezer the night before, then it's
Yeah.
contemplating takeout or something boxed that has far too much salt in it or,
Yes. How
the
often do
things.
you order takeout? That's one of the things that is a bane of my budget.
Yes, not often. At the most, we'll go maybe a couple weeks where we've gone once a week and ordered something, but typically not. Typically, we go a good couple weeks at a time without eating any takeout. But
And
I'm
it's
not even
only
including just takeout, it's just boxed things, like the
Yeah.
pre-prepared pizzas or ribs or whatever that we all know has far too much sodium in it, no matter who made it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the struggle is there trying to eat healthy and maintain a somewhat decent weight without, you know, feeling like crap all the time or being bloated or all of the things.
Yeah, I know. It's especially when you get older, of a certain age, you have to be
Yes.
careful with the salt and
Mhm.
the processed foods. So, have you tried using a recipe or a planner? I have one that I've used. I haven't used it in a while, so full disclosure. But I used to use this it was called Recipe Keeper, so it was downloadable from the App Store. You could actually create a grocery list based on recipes, so you could choose the recipe that you want. Say you want to have it on a Monday, and then you would look to see what you have available and what you need to buy, and you can just add the things that you don't have that you need for it to a grocery list.
Yeah, see that is almost offensive to me because it is. Only because about, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, I had an idea to make an app similar to that. And
Oh,
I actually spoke to somebody. We were in talks, this friend of mine, and she's a software development engineer. So we were actually discussing how to make an app. And I actually wanted to call it the What the F is for Dinner app.
yeah,
And the idea was, and when we first talked about it, she actually said there are web scraper tools that they can use to pull recipes for dislikes, allergies, all those kinds of things. So it makes a
yeah,
repertoire basically for your family. And then from that makes a grocery list, same. And I wanted the app to actually go as far as sending your grocery list to a delivery service of your
yeah.
choice, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
that, you come home from work on Monday and not only are you not guessing what the F is for dinner, but the ingredients have been delivered while you're at work because they're on your doorstep through Voila or whatever service people use.
So I don't think that exists because that's like a fully integrated app where you are not only providing recipes to choose from, you're creating grocery lists for
Mhm.
planning, you're shooting that off to Instacart or some other Uber delivery company to then deliver those groceries to you. I don't think that exists. The one I was talking about, and I'm pretty sure you and I chatted about this
Yeah, I think
at
we
the
have talked about
cottage at some time. Ring the
it.
bell.
Uh-huh.
That sort of integrated app does not, to my knowledge, does not exist. So I think
Well,
that's
then
a
we should
great
stop
idea.
talking about this. We should
Let's go
stop talking
code.
about this.
If only one of us could code.
Right? Right?
Actually, it's funny because you can actually build your own app now. There are apps out there where you can do what's called vibe coding, and you can just basically tell it what you want it to do or the app to do, and it will build it for you. Have you heard of this?
No.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that in another episode.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
So, what the F is for dinner? So, how do you solve the problem short of creating the app and becoming a billionaire?
Well, at that point, I'll have somebody else making all of my meals for me. But
You've got
until
a
such time as
personal
I'm
chef
filthy rich.
and have a personal chef.
Oh yeah, 100%. I actually don't mind cooking. I really don't. I I don't like the having to plan it, shop for it, cook it, and clean it up afterwards. That's my biggest pet peeve. But honestly, I don't hate to cook. So what I did do for a while that was working was I would do a full, menu idea for the week, and then I would do on Sundays just meal prep. Just chop all of the things, have little Tupperware containers in the fridge of diced celery and carrots and onions and all of the things that I knew that were going to be needed for the upcoming week. And it does make it a little more a little less time consuming during the week when you get home from work and you already know Monday is this, Tuesday is this, Wednesday is that.
Yeah.
And it also gave me probably a decent amount of savings because I had worked it out so that I could, if I made spaghetti sauce on Sunday and a big enough vat of it, then sometime during the week that rest of the spaghetti sauce would get used alternately into something else. Either it turned into chili or it turned into stuffed peppers or that kind
I
of
was
thing.
just thinking stuffed peppers is one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And it does work out really well, and it does save you money, especially if you're actually using leftovers, but that's okay for me. We're empty nesters. It's just the 2 of
Yeah.
us. There's
Yeah.
a lot of families out there that I'm sure are struggling with that because they have more mouths to feed and there aren't as many leftovers no matter what you cook, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just have I got need to get a handle on it, and I need to actually sit down and think about it for long enough and stop scrolling on social media instead of actually doing something productive with my time.
But I bet you're scrolling social media and screenshotting recipes.
I do that. Yeah, yeah.
I do that all the time.
Uh-huh.
And in fact, when I was using this recipe keeper app, you could actually upload the recipe that you saw on social media into this app so that you could
Oh,
combine both pleasures of scrolling your heart's desire, and you can save recipes to an app so you can feel productive at the same time.
hmm. Well, that sounds like a great idea.
I will
Something I
say
should definitely use.
I will send you the app and I
Okay.
will link
Mm,
it in the description of the episode for anyone else who is interested. Because I did find it very useful. And I do, like you, I do see whether it's Facebook or YouTube or whatever, I do find recipes online that I really like. And it was really handy for doing that, especially you could actually plan. So you could find multiple recipes that you really like, and then you could slot it in, like schedule it for a specific day, and
right.
then you could create the grocery list and just send it to Derek and say, here's what we're having for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you need to pick up the groceries.
Yeah, we need this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, smart. And we
So
do need to talk about that app going forward, I think,
I think we do. I think we do. In fact, it's actually, of course, my brain immediately goes to we
AI.
can build a suite of AI agents who can do all this work for us, including building that app. Because it's not about apps anymore. It's actually about AI agents. So
Yeah.
you could have somebody who you could just on your phone say, "Hey, Google," or "Hey," no, I guess can't do Google because that's already
Yeah. That one's taken.
"Hey, Jose,
Jose, I
help me
like. Yeah.
plan my week. Can you give me 5 recipes for this upcoming week? Scan what I have available in my at home in my fridge, because of course it's
Yeah, there's gonna be
attached
smart
to your
fridges.
fridge, right? Because you
Yeah,
have
for
smart
sure.
fridges now. And then you can actually have that recipe and that whole plan created by your AI home agent, Jose.
Jose.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to.
Well, with vibe coding, we could totally do it. I've actually been looking into create. I mean, again, we're going to talk about this in a separate episode, but
Yeah.
AI is just mind blowing what's happening.
Yeah. I'm sure
Mhm.
it's gonna help a lot of people. It still freaks me out a lot, but we'll talk about that in the
We
next
will.
episode. I said it still freaks me out a little bit, but
Mhm. Yeah. So, talking about recipes and cooking, so if you had an app or something where
mhm.
you could plan your week, including creating groceries, and Derek was grocery shopping, would you also expect him to do the dishes? This is an interesting hot debate in my house because if I cook, my
Yeah,
expectation is somebody else is cleaning, right?
that sounds fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not how it works around here. Honestly.
It's not really how it
Mm,
works at my house either, but that's how I think it should work.
I agree. I agree. And I mean, it's not such a hardship that we have a dishwasher. I don't need to actually hand wash much other than a couple of pots and pans, but for the most part, everything gets tossed into the dishwasher.
That's
Derek
good.
Derek would do dishes if I emptied the sink from the last load of dishes that I did. But like laundry, I tend to just, you know,
Leave it
let
sit.
God dry it, let it sit, turn the dryer on a couple more times. Maybe they won't be wrinkled when I take them out, that kind of thing. But if I actually had both sinks empty, Derek would do the dishes after dinner. I just never do that.
Yeah. I find it less about doing the dishes and more about putting the leftovers away if there's any, you know what I mean? Like
Right,
that's the most exhausting part for me. I don't mind. Well, let's be clear, I don't do the dishes right after a meal. Like you, I
right.
will put them
Yeah.
in the sink, I'll fill them with water, I'll put them in the dishwasher, whatever the case may be. But just putting like, the leftover meatloaf in a container, putting it in the fridge.
Oh, see,
And
we both do that. Right
yeah,
after
that's
dinner,
good.
we both get up and start putting the leftovers away and all the condiments. Because, in my house, there's probably 15 condiments for every meal on the table, right?
Yes,
So
including ranch dressing.
always, always ranch dressing. Yeah. So we put all that away together and then put all the leftovers away. And then as soon as that's done, I park my butt on the couch and Derek makes either tea or coffee, depending on which day of the week. And that
Mm,
gets delivered to me in the living room while I'm covered in dogs. So I can't
no.
complain too much.
That's fair. I guess that's good. I mean, it is good at give and take, right? So this
Yeah.
morning, as an example, Peter likes to, I don't know if he likes to, but he will most weekends make breakfast. So he'll make this morning he made me a nice breakfast sandwich and while I'm scrolling away on AI or watching YouTube videos on AI. And so that's sort of his contribution because he does work all day. And while I work in the home, I think he feels like, or sometimes thinks I don't work at all, which I do a lot. And that for me is a source of consternation.
Hmm.
So now that the kids are out and in their own domicile, do you have family dinners? Like, do you have them over for Sunday dinners? Or I've started to do this, and I mean, it's not hard because the commute for my kids is a stair, like walking up the stairs, but it's kind of nice. My mom used to do
Yeah.
it when I was first moved out. We would all come together on a Sunday. My mom would make a nice pot roast, and it would be a great way for us to get back together. So I've instituted that at my house. Now I have to cook, but I've started to get like Shannon. I made her make the carrots on the weekend, and Sam cooks during the week, so that's fair. But do you do anything like that for your?
We haven't. We get together there seems to be at least once a month some occasion that we're all getting together for, but we
Mm,
typically go out for that. Um, but yeah, we really should. We live in the same town, so it's not like they're, a far
yeah,
commute. And my parents as well. I was just saying to Derek a couple weeks ago, we really should be having my parents over for dinner. They don't love our stairs because we have a couple of stairs at the front door and a couple getting into the house, but
yeah,
my parents also live in the same town and are getting up there in years, and I really should be having them over at least, every couple weeks for dinner, if not every week. So
yeah.
it's being planned in the future. My consternation about that is having to have the house clean for other people to come over, right?
Oh, the dreaded house clean.
Oh my God, the dreaded
Yeah.
house clean. It's a lot.
It is a lot. When I lived near you, my house was much larger and keeping it clean
Hmm.
was really challenging. And it was
Yeah.
very open, so if there was one corner of the house a mess, the rest of the house looked like it was a mess because you could see it from the other room. In my new house, it's all one level and it's much more, I'll call it cozy.
Right.
And so really I'm just keeping the living room and the kitchen clean and it's much easier. So I mean, I still have dishes in the sink sometimes, and I have this
Yeah.
beautiful island that I just put in gorgeous granite. So I love seeing that completely open. I hate shit on an island. That drives me bonkers where people just throw crap on the island.
Yeah, I have a couple spots in the house where even though it's just the two of us, and we always thought that it was the kids that left all the mess around the house, but apparently it wasn't
No.
because they've been gone for a couple of years and we still leave stuff. Well, guilty. I'm more guilty of it than Derek is by far, of just, when I go upstairs next, I'll take that with me. So that's gonna live there for a couple minutes, and then, the next day,
Yeah.
it's still there. And the biggest problem I think with that is, honestly, most of the times when I'm going up and downstairs, I'm carrying Hannibal. I don't
Yeah.
have extra hands to take stuff up and
Yeah.
down and right?
Yeah.
So I know that sounds like an excuse, but that's the biggest problem with having people over for me, is having to do the entire like a full day of cleaning. Even if you've tried to maintain it during the week and just put everything away and stuff, there's dust and there's sweeping and
Yeah.
mopping and all of the stuff to do before you can actually invite people into your house, even people that used to live there at one time.
Well, my kids are all still home, one of which moved back in, which, as you know, but
Mhm.
I'm actually pretty lucky because my youngest Sam actually cleans the house once a week for me. So it's nice, and being able to, when I say cleans the house, they do like the kitchen and they make sure that the dishes are clean, and they also make like I guess I'm really lucky. May never leave because they do so
Right?
much. I'm really lucky.
I would not let them leave.
No, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so did we solve the what the F is for dinner? I'm not sure we did.
But I think it requires further discussion. But for now, I'm feeling a little better about it.
Well, that's it for today's episode. As always, we had a few giggles and we talked about a lot of shit.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Giggles and Shit Show. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend who could use a giggle.
You can follow the show and join the conversation on Substack at gigglesandshit.substack.com. That's giggles and shit with an n.substack.com. Subscribe to get new episodes, stories, and behind the scenes updates from the show straight to your inbox. Until next time, keep on giggling through the chaos and talking shit. Done. Nailed
Done.
it!
Nailed it. Oh gosh.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Giggles and Shit Show. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe on Substack at gigglesandshit.substack.com so you'll never miss an episode. You'll get all our content, podcasts, videos, and newsletter delivered right to your inbox. Join our chat to post your very own shit or hit list. We want to hear about the shit that's driving you crazy or making your week ahead. Come laugh, cry, and keep it real with us and our Gen X community.